The Royal Ocean Racing Club is delighted to announce that for 2025 and 2027, the port town of Cherbourg en Cotentin will continue to host the finish of the famous biennial Rolex Fastnet race. The 2025 Rolex Fastnet race will be held during the club's centenary year when another record entry is expected. The 51st edition of the Rolex Fastnet race starts from the Royal Yacht Squadron line on Saturday the 26th of July, 2025, prior to the annual Cows Week festivities. From 7 participants in its first edition in 1925, the 2023 Rolex Fastnet race attracted a record 430 boats. For the next edition, the RORC is planning for an even larger international fleet. Entries for the 2025 Rolex Fastnet race are expected to be even higher due to the 100th anniversary of the Royal Ocean Racing Club and the return of the Admiral's Cup.
This is the weekly Global Sailing Highlights Show, The World on Water, September 13, 2024. With the end of the round robins, the Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli team can now focus on the next step, the Challenger Selection Series Semifinals. Keep watching The World on Water for exclusive coverage.
Yeah. We got that with attack, boys.
I think Mother Nature
This is
really...
the umpires, New Zealand, outside the boundary more than 100 metres, you are disqualified, race awarded to Italy.
You're going to turn right in, so go away from that line.
Yep.
Race number 19, Luna Rossa.
Oskari Muhonen has become the first ever Finnish sailor to win the Finn Gold Cup. He has dominated this week in Aarhus in light and strong winds and shown great speed and tactics to become the undisputed Finn world champion for 2024. Hungary's Doma Nemeth had his chances but in the end finished second, only beating Muhonen in one race. But as the leading U23 sailor here, he takes home the Finn Silver Cup, a title he has twice won and which Muhonen has won 3 times. Third place was a real battle, with Italy's Alessandro Marega winning by 1 point over France's Valerian Lebrun. Under the aegis of Banque Populaire Grand Ouest, which was also immediately supportive and won over by the format, 2024 will see the 3rd edition of the 24-hour Ultim take place. Also supported by local authorities, Lorient Agglomeration, La Plage, the Morbihan Department and the Brittany region, this event is now set to become a permanent fixture in the annual calendar of the Ultim 32 23rds class departing from and arriving at the port of Lorient.
On vient tout juste de franchir la ligne d'arrivée avec le trimaran SDR Lazartigue. 24 heures ultimes bien intenses. On a plutôt fait les bons bords et eu une super vitesse sur le début de la course, donc ça c'était top. Et puis au petit matin, en revenant en portant, on s'est un peu fait piéger. On est un peu déçus, mais après arrêter en tête toute la course, on s'est fait grappiller 2 places sur la fin. Par contre, on a des super sensations sur le bateau. C'est quand même assez rare de se retrouver à régater avec une machine aussi exceptionnelle que le trimaran SDR Lazartigue avec si peu d'entraînement. Et les sensations à bord du trimaran SDR Lazartigue sont quand même sensationnelles. Ce matin, on est revenu avec un board reaching à 45 nœuds, le bateau qui vole sur la mer toute plate. C'est des sensations vraiment incroyables et je me sens bien chanceuse d'être là.
The outcome of the 55th edition of La Solitaire du Figaro Paprick is approaching. While the name of the person who will write his name will be known in a few hours, it is still impossible at this stage to lend himself to the odds of the gap as the deviations are so small. At the 3 p.m. singing, Lois Beraha, skipper Massif 2022, was in the lead, 0.7 thousand ahead of Barcel Borgnon, Edenred, and Gaston Morvan, Region Brittany, CMB Performance. The leader in the provisional general classification, Tom Dolan, was 7th, 6.8 miles from the leader.
À se faire du mal et à voir les petits copains revenir et on peut malheureusement rien faire. Mais c'est la loi du jeu.
Après une rude journée hier et une nuit tout aussi mouvementée, la deuxième transmanche a été tonique et 3 solitaires naviguaient de concert en tête de flotte, creusant leur avance sur leurs poursuivants, à la recherche quand même d'un peu de repos.
J'ai été longtemps lucide, jusqu'à Starpoint, la bouée de Scary's Bank. Et en fait, je t'avoue que le dodo était bien tentant sur une ligne droite, toute stable et tout. Et il restait pas long, alors je me suis allongé en pensant juste m'allonger 2 minutes et je me suis endormi, je me suis retrouvé dans les bancs de sable à Starpoint et le pire aurait pu y arriver, mais tout va bien.
Mais arrivé dans le chenal du four, le vent mollit, les écarts se resserrent et les calculs se font dans la tête du leader actuel, Loïs Béréard.
Le coup de Trafalgar qu'on a eu dans le four, j'en ai jamais entendu parler dans un bulletin météo consulte, donc je me méfie toujours. Tant que je suis pas arrivé, je me méfie. Moi, pour le général, il faut pas juste que je sois devant, il faut que je sois loin devant. Donc bon, j'essaie de pas trop y penser et je joue l'étape à fond et ça va être cool.
Le suspense va être maintenu jusqu'au bout si le trio de tête Bourgnon, Béréard, Morvan essaie de garder une certaine distance avec le reste de la meute. Tom Dolan reste en embuscade. À 15h, le leader au général est à 8000 de la tête de flotte et 4000 de Gaston Morvan, son dauphin au classement général. Au temps cumulé, 57 minutes séparent l'Irlandais du pensionnaire de région Bretagne CMV Performance.
C'est des boules d'avoir mis le gros paquet depuis le début de la course et d'avoir fait le break hier dans les conditions un peu soutenues et de se retrouver avec tous les copains juste derrière. Mais bon, Figaro, c'est un peu tout le temps comme ça, j'ai l'impression. Quand ça part par devant et que t'es devant, t'es bien, comme étape 2, et sinon c'est plein de petits coups où tu fais souvent attrapé par la patrouille.
La course de vitesse reprend sur ses derniers bords dans un vent portant.
Et bah écoute, avec la marée qui va s'inverser, ça va peut-être resserrer la flotte. Donc il faut que je reste quand même à portée de fusil si je veux pouvoir m'accrocher au podium final.
Le dénouement final de cette 55e édition de la Solitaire du Figaro Paprec est proche. Les premiers sont attendus demain entre 3 et 4 heures du matin à la Turballe.
In this video, Brit Pip Hare shares an insight into the final preparations ahead of the 2024 Vendée Globe race, which starts in November. It is the hardest sporting event in the world, as 40 solo skippers race their 60-foot yachts, non-stop, unassisted, around the world. Could you do this? Keep watching the World on Water channel for our reports on the race. We will give you the good and the bad.
Why did I pick the Vendée Globe? I think because when I first read about the Vendée Globe, it struck me that it was the hardest event in sailing. To sail single-handed, non-stop around the world in a boat that's 60 foot long, that's, you know, a high-performance vessel on your own. It was the hardest challenge, and I think that's what attracted me to it in the first place. It's taken me quite literally a whole lifetime to get here. I've been sailing professionally since I was 18, since I left school at 18. So that's now 32 years. You know, it's not been a smooth journey. There've been many challenges along the way. I've learned a lot about myself. I've pushed further than I ever thought that I could. You know, I think the journey to make this happen, to become the skipper and the CEO of a professional elite ocean racing team has, I guess, challenged me in a way that has set me up to be a better sailor. It's all so intertwined, I couldn't separate the two really. When I started out in the world of sailing, particularly in offshore sailing and inshore racing, I guess, on keel boats, participation by women was less than 3%. So, you know, I was always an outsider. People always questioned my credentials, my potential. And I think I struggled a lot with the fact that I believed I could do something and no one else seemed to believe I was capable of it. And I realised that if I wanted to make my career happen, it had to come from me. I had to create my own opportunities. I had to demonstrate my own potential, and that's what I've done. I'm lucky now in that I sail in a class, the Amoca class, which specialises in solo ocean racing, where we're very much judged on our merit. And it's amazing to be in a class that has a meritocracy. And I really hope that in the future, kind of being out there and demonstrating that in the field of solo ocean racing, men and women have an equal place at the table. I hope that changes things for women in the future. Building a team over the last 4 years has been an important progression from me being just a solo sailor to establishing one of the top ocean racing teams in the world. And I decided that I wanted to recruit my team from diverse backgrounds. I didn't just want to recruit people who had only worked in the industry, because I always feel that challenging the status quo, bringing new thinking to a situation is a great way to bolster performance. But at the same time, you do need a level of experience and expertise. So I was looking for dual roles within my team, kind of one to challenge and one to provide the kind of well-established wisdom. And the first kind of port of call for me was to find the two people that would support me in leading the team, and that was from an operational point of view and from a technical point of view. So from an operational point of view, I chose Lou Adams to be my operations director. Now, Lou does not come from, career-wise, Lou doesn't come from a conventional sailing background. Her career is leadership within the NHS, so she has led emergency departments, huge emergency departments, through times of incredible stress. So her ability to problem solve, her ability to deal with ever-changing situations, is inherent. But also, she's not afraid to challenge or question ways of doing things. And then from a technical perspective, that's where I really needed that huge level of depth and experience. And then I chose Joff Brown as our technical director. Joff had already worked with me on the 2020 Vendée Globe campaign. We're now coming into his 6th cycle of preparing boats for the Vendée Globe race. That is a huge experience and history, and definitely having him on board to make sure the boat is as good as it should be to go around the world gives me a huge level of confidence. And then kind of the wider team, we went with that global strategy of kind of looking outside the industry. We use experienced subcontractors for kind of topical work when we need it. We look to recruit some entry-level positions 3 years ago for young people who are new into the industry, and then bring them with us through the journey, and we've seen our team kind of develop their skill level and experience. And then we've brought in people from outside the industry to work with us as well, because you can never have enough kind of fresh takes and fresh opinions on how to make things better, how to look at things in a different way. Our journey from finishing the 2020 race to about to start the 2024 race has been an incredibly steep learning curve. We've gone from a fledgling team, our first event in 2022, our first racing event, some of our team, the majority of our team, had never even seen a race start before, let alone prepared a boat for one. So we've gone from kind of this fresh team learning just how to exist to solid top 10 performances in the most competitive IMOCA fleet in history. And I think we've managed to make that transition in 3 years, which is an incredibly fast time. And it's because we have set some really hard objectives. We have not been afraid to be agile in our approach, to pivot quickly, to change our direction if something isn't working. And also I would like to think that we do listen to the diverse opinions from the team. And I would always encourage anybody when building a team to make sure that it is diverse enough to encourage lots of different kinds of thinking and creativity, because that really helps you make rapid improvements. Our strapline is doing it differently, because we do, and we are. It just describes this team very well. I guess from the absolute basics of what you see, we are the only female-led team in class IMOCA, and we're one of the very few female-led professional sports teams. And by female led, I mean that I am the CEO of the team and I'm also the skipper, so I'm the face of the team, but our operations director, from a business perspective, Lou Adams, is also female, and there aren't many where you have the CEO and the operations director as women. So kind of from the outset, we are different in that way. But I think we're also different because I haven't followed the exact same model as everybody else in delivering my campaign. I think quite hard about how we're going to resource things. I'm very keen on doing as much as we can in-house, both to save money but also to build our own skill set. We work with our partners in a very close way, both our sponsorship agreements and our technical partners. For example, we're sitting here now in Poole Harbour, and we have a partnership with Poole Harbour Commissioners, and that kind of works for both of us, and we're always checking in with our partners and making sure that they feel like they're part of the team and they're getting a good return. So I think it's just a way of thinking. Doing it differently is a way of thinking. It's not just blindly following the path of others because that's the way you've been told to do it. It's not being afraid to challenge, accepting good wisdom and following when it's the right thing to do, but when it's not the right thing to do, it's not being afraid to do something else. Within this team, I am both the CEO and the skipper, and what that means from a practical perspective is that I'm responsible for running the business, and that includes raising the funds to race. It includes ultimate responsibility for all of our employees, for all of our contracts with sponsors, and then also the sporting side of things is resting on my shoulders as well. And people who are investing in the team are expecting a result, which means that I need to be able to perform at an international class level in the races that we've entered. And it's a difficult path to tread. I'm constantly being torn between the two roles because in reality they both should be full-time roles. But that's not the path that's been available to me. Through my career, I have had to set up, create, manage my own teams in order to get the opportunity to be the skipper. And so that's the way I made it work, and so I embrace it. Of course, I would love to be a full-time skipper. I would love it because I think I would be more rested. I would be more focused. I'd definitely be better. But that's not what's available to me at the moment. The way I manage it is to be very clear about who I am in any given stage. So when I am offshore, I am the skipper. I am totally on the boat. I am totally focused. That is my job. That is where my energy goes. When I'm in an office day, then I am the CEO of the business. Sometimes it's not easy. There are days when the lines are blurred and then the workload can become difficult, but you just manage hour by hour, day by day. But on the whole, look at where we are, look at what we've achieved, look at what we have. I am very privileged to be in this position and really happy. You can't help but look back at the 2020 race and use that, that's the only point of reference that I have as to how the 2024 race will unfold. However, I am also very aware that the 2024 race is going to be completely different. The only thing that's going to be the same is the course. I'm sailing around the world. But this time around, there are 40 boats on the start line. The competition is so tight. Over the last 4 years, we have seen, and I personally have experienced, finishes that are divided by seconds. And we know after a whole Atlantic of racing, boats are still neck and neck. Small mistakes cost you. So I think the intensity and the pressure of racing is going to be different. This boat is a lot faster. It's a lot more aggressive to sail. I'm 4 years older. I'd like to think I'm a little bit wiser. I think my navigation will be better. I have more of an idea of what conditions will look like in the south. But I have no expectation that this race is going to be anything like the last one. It's a fresh slate and I need to go out and experience it as a new race entirely. I think the 2024 Vendée Globe race is going to be intensely exciting to watch. Over the last 4 years, the fleet has developed in a way we could not have imagined. Who would have imagined that there would be boats flying above the water around the world? I mean, that is insane. But also because the competition is so close, because onboard filming has become easier, because satellite technology is allowing us to send more footage off the boats. I think there's always going to be too much to watch. So I would say stay tuned and strap in for the most incredible ride.